Okay then, some questions for your consideration. Does the government, its agencies, need to employ violence to uphold the law? Or is non-violent force, physical or otherwise, all that is required to maintain law and order? Let's define violence as physical force aimed at injuring, harming, damaging, abusing, or killing. Can we call violence absolutely immoral? Or is that just silly given the subjective nature of morality? Can we say all violence should be illegal? Or should the law take into account that occasionally violence is the only option? But is it ever the only option? If we really think about it, don't we always have a choice? Are there not always alternatives? What about the issue of consent? Is violence okay against a person as long as they agree to it? Or agree to the possibility of it? Should violence between consenting adults be legal? If we answer yes, then how far are we willing to push this? Where should we draw the line? Should we draw the line? Surely we have to place some limits on what people can do to each other, or civilization itself will break down, right? What about acts of violence against the self? If a person is of sound body and mind, a consenting adult, and they want to self-harm, should we respect that person's wishes, or should we seek to intervene? What if a person wants to violently kill themselves? Do we respect their right to do that? Do we respect their bodily autonomy, their bodily ownership? Considering human nature, can we ever hope to live in a violence-free world? A violence-free human society, that is to say. If we can say the state doesn't need to employ violence, and individuals don't need to employ violence either, then we can't deny the possibility of a violence-free human society, can we? If we are to eliminate violence from human society, surely we will need more than just legal remedies and moral arguments. So, what would it take? I'm asking you, the viewer. Right, free speech, folks. In the world we live in, there's no such thing as absolute free speech. There are always some limits, some restrictions. Could there ever be absolute free speech in a lawful society? How would that work? Is the idea of absolute free speech simply impractical? Would it simply be too dangerous? Would people quickly find it intolerable if all limits on speech were lifted tomorrow? Or would society work just fine in a world where everyone could say anything they felt like? If we agree that some limits on speech are required to keep the peace and protect the innocent, then can we agree on the precise limits? If we can, then we have the foundation for freedom and stability in society, don't we? Or do we? Is it ever that simple? If we can't agree where to set the limits, even though we do agree that there should be limits, where does that leave us? What does that mean for society? Can we at least agree that limits on speech should be very specific, with no room for broad legal speak, lest we leave ourselves open to a freedom-hating, oppressive regime? Can we at least agree on that point? I don't ask these questions about violence or free speech because I enjoy talking to myself. I have my own outlook, my own personal philosophy, and my own answers to these questions, but I'm interested in listening to or reading what other people have to say. And I'm interested in possibly getting a discussion going. So, yeah, feel free to get involved. I welcome you to get involved. So, yeah, there it is. Catch you later, folks.